Godspeed to all of you. Here you are with the responsibility of teaching students, of teaching teachers about Congress and state legislatures, legislative bodies, at a time when the public now gives the lowest rating ever to the Congress and probably equally to state legislatures. It certainly sets up a particular challenge for you in trying to convey the critical importance of deliberative legislatures to a public, to young people and their teachers that are deeply cynical, skeptical of the institution itself. Now, I think it's important that you realize that Congress's ratings are caught up in the general public funk about the country off on the wrong track, of the economy's a mess and the war's a failure, and we hate our president and have for some time. So that's part of it, and part of your challenge is really trying to convey a sense of that, those legislative bodies, what they're expecting to do, not simply reflect consensual public opinion, but to refine and enlarge the public views, as Madison spoke so eloquently. I like to simplify things. In thinking about Congress, I see it as having sort of three major responsibilities. One, sort of representational, to represent the citizenry. Remember, the only institution that was directly linked to the people. That was where ordinary folks could have some direct connection with those who would govern. The second, to be a genuinely transformative legislative body that is not simply ratifying decisions made elsewhere, but engaging in serious deliberation. That entails an elaborate set of procedures, norms, routines that are absolutely critical to fulfilling that responsibility. And the third, most legislatures are, in our American context, are part of a separation of powers system, and therefore the Congress and state legislatures have important responsibilities to check and balance the other branches. When Congress fails to fulfill that responsibilities, we tend to get imbalances in the system, and the whole constitutional design falls prey to all kinds of pathologies. Now, that's the design, but there's no guarantee that Congress or state legislatures are going to be able to do its job well, and we shouldn't automatically assume they are doing it well, and our job is to have people understand how well they're doing their job. Congress is shaped, is influenced, affected by the broad political environment in which it operates. And to look at a representative assembly simply from, if you will, an internal perspective is to sort of miss the essential character of the body. Begin with political parties. The conditions of election and re-election importantly shape who comes to Congress, their orientations, and the way in which they behave inside the institution. The need for campaign funds and the ways in which and time invested in raising those funds can shape the behavior of the Congress. A chairmanship, $800,000 minimum to the Congressional Party Campaign Committee, and that's not counting contributing to individual members yourself or participating in fundraisers for them. But there's much more. The pattern of interest groups and how they're organized, who's represented, who's not, the resources they have to bring to bear can shape the behavior within an institution. there's little the Congress can do on its own. It's always working in conjunction with the executive and to an important extent the courts as well, but it's that executive legislative relationship that is so critical to its performance. Now, in recent years, we have witnessed an intense ideological polarization of the political parties. It's not the first time it's happened in American history. We could go back to periods in 19th century, especially the 1890s and early part of the 20th century. We had a similar sorting that took place in which the parties took on more distinctive ideological profiles. The parties' center of gravity moved further apart from one another. The parties became more internally unified, and that created some genuine complications for the body. It's particularly problematic when those parties are operating at a rough parity, the roughly 50-50 balance in the country, in the legislative bodies and elections to the presidency, because that creates an incentive to do things other than deliberate and legislate. I would argue that links to the public have been weakened by uncompetitive elections, by the permanent campaign, which leads to, rather than an effort to sort of understand what the people think and need and want, it's rather a more craven effort to manipulate public opinion in a way to arm oneself in legislative battles to achieve those ideological ends that you had in mind to begin with. And the very fact that the margins are so close makes it all the more attractive to look to the legislative process as a tool for conducting the next campaign, not as a tool for writing new law. On the legislative responsibility, the whole point is for people from diverse constituencies to come together and talk to one another, to receive information, to be open to persuasion on occasion based on the information and arguments they hear from others. But the internal processes have been so distorted because of these broader political developments that you've seen a demise of regular order. Legislative bodies need sort of rules and procedures and norms in which permit it to engage in the very process of deliberation that is characteristic of a serious legislative body. We've seen a marginalization of committees, a lack of serious talk, the corruption of the conference process. For me, it raises the question, is our Madisonian system, this sort of brilliantly designed system in which the ambitions of politicians are acknowledged but channeled in ways that create some institutional identity and loyalties and give you the basis on which to both divide and share powers and to check and balance other institutions. But is that system compatible with strong ideologically based political parties? When the party link is so strong and it's built upon an underlying ideological commitment, then the loyalties develop across institutions.